Welcome to the Imperfect Dads Podcast. This is your host, Devin. We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids, but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like. Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood and how they feel like they're holding it together or how they're not. Thank you for joining us for this episode. This podcast is part of the Never a Face Network. Make sure to follow them on Instagram or go to the website neverafacenetwork.com. On this episode, we have on Dawn Burns, better known as the Nashville Mom. We talk about our favorite things to do in Nashville, moving from Charleston to Nashville, our shared love of Parnassus Bookstore, how she became the Nashville Mom on socials, and learning to parent teenagers. A lot of our conversation is about social media and figuring out how to make sure your child is watching things that are age appropriate, helping them build community, and understanding what socializing looks like for them. A lot of this includes teen accounts that Meta recently came out with, and Dawn discusses what safeguards you can set up with a teen account. Also, we talked about the importance of being a guide for your child as they learn about the world they're entering into. Just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad. Well, this is topical because it's only like a week or two afterwards. How'd you survive the ice storm? Are you good with all that? How's your world with that?
Yeah, so actually we were not in town for all that, so we kind of missed that. But we kind of split some time between there and Charleston, South Carolina. So yeah, we were there at that time. So yeah.
Way to choose a week to be out of town.
Well, yeah, I've had some kind of major surgeries early in the year. So just been on the down low for a while. So this is one of my first gigs back,
Cool.
getting back to work.
Nice. Well, I was going to be like, how'd you survive the ice storm? What was it like being trapped in a house with no power with kids? And good for you. Way to avoid that week of insanity.
Yeah, there we go.
Do you spend much time in Charleston? I've actually never been to Charleston.
Yeah, so I'm originally from South Carolina,
Okay.
and my husband went to school in Charleston, and then I lived in Charleston after college for a while. So, it's home as well.
That's cool.
It's a great city. You should add it to your list. We can swap notes on travel.
Yes. Yeah. You can give me the tips on Charleston. I'll give you all the 2-hour radius driving of Denver area for you.
Sounds good.
Here's the biggest question I'll ask you for the whole conversation. Better food scene, Charleston or Nashville?
That is a hard one. I feel like Charleston has like a lot of great like seafood and like fresh kind of stuff like that. Obviously it's a smaller town than Nashville. I feel like Nashville has amazing food, but I feel like it's a lot of heavier, foods. Like when I think of Nashville, I think of biscuits and hot chicken and like all like, your traditional kind of Southern kind of foods. So it depends on what you're in the mood for.
Okay, that's fair. How long have you lived in Nashville for? What brought you out to Nashville?
Yeah, so at the time my husband's job was based out of Chicago. Didn't want to move to Chicago and just loved Nashville and loved the vibe of it and kind of like what you were saying, the different change of pace and things. So just kind of felt drawn to that area.
Nice. That's awesome. Did you ever, good.
9-10 years ago, something like that.
Cool. Did you ever expect to have an Instagram account and have like a social media presence and all that is based around a town? Because that's crazy, right?
Yeah. So, when my son was born, I think I started my own blog, back in the blogging days. It's not quite that anymore, but I did have like a personal blog, but I wasn't trying to like make it a business or anything like that. And then when we moved to Nashville, well, and I don't know if you know this, I actually did not start my blog. Someone else.
Okay.
And Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
Someone else started it. And when we moved to Nashville, that's kind of how I got plugged in is she would post, these are some things going on around town. She would host little play dates or mom's kind of lunch, things like that. And that's really how I kind of started getting connected in Nashville. And then she, her name's Lindsay McPherson. She went on to start another business and she was kind of, she just had to have as much time for the blog and everything. And I just mentioned to my husband, like, oh, I'm so sad. Like, I love what she's created and I didn't want to see it go away. And he says, well, you should ask her if you can help her with it. And I was like, no, I don't have any business with that. Like my background is in education. Like I'm a teacher is my background.
Okay.
But as time went on, I was like, I'll just ask her and I really just meant to like help her with it. I didn't mean
Yeah.
to necessarily take everything on, but she eventually was like, I want you to take it and run with it. And so I sort of jumped in head first because she had already created really as a business, working with some brands, doing community stuff. And so
Hmm.
I just kind of learned as I went along.
That's so cool.
But it's definitely my heart because I love the community, love getting to know people in the community. And over, time or whatnot, it's like, should I change it from this one? No, because that's what the heart
Mhm.
behind it is the community.
Yeah. And doing like this world of trying to, communicate with parents and connect with parents, if it doesn't motivate it, like it's very easy to be discouraged doing this because you just put stuff out, you put out reels, you put out stuff, and you're like, did anyone watch this? Did anyone see this?
Yeah, a
And so,
lot
like,
goes into it.
it does. And remembering, like, why are you doing this? Oh, it's because I love connecting people. I love knowing people's journey on this is, yeah, to hold on to that is really important because it is very easy to be exhausted
How
by
about you? How
this.
did you get started in your podcast?
Yeah. Yeah. So we basically, whenever I lived in Nashville, guy who lived around the corner from me was having his first kid whenever I was having my third. And he was like, man, us just hanging out would be awesome. Like, there's not a lot of dad content. There's not a lot of dad podcasts out there.
Yeah.
So just dads hanging out and talking would be fantastic. And after like the third time he said it, I was like, I actually studied audio engine. I can do like all the production stuff on it. That was the intention of it. And then it was just me and my friend Justin hanging out like every other week, talking about life with newborns and basically sitting there and being like, do you know what day it is? Because I don't know what day it is.
I
And then
actually used to have a podcast.
did you really? What was it?
Yeah, I podcast. It was called the Nash Chat, and I was like,
Mm,
I would interview like small business kind of owners or
yep.
different things. But I kind of wish I would have had somebody on it,
Yes.
like a co-host, because it's like fun to have other people to talk to and stuff.
It is. It
I've I've retired, but
it it makes a difference. I mean, we basically at like a year mark, I don't know if you've ever listened to Nashville Restaurant Radio, but the guy who runs that had reached out to us
okay,
and then he was like, "Hey, if you want to record at my studio, like let's work it out." And then like once we did an episode with him, people were like, "Oh, I'm a dad. Can I come on?" So then we got connected with like 12 South Farmers Market. We ended up doing a call with like Freddie O'Connell, like got very involved with the scene with the Nashville community, not the scene. Um, yeah, I think they still do a dad walk in Shelby Bottoms. It's kind of on the low down right now because it's winter,
sure,
but
very fun.
yeah, very much so.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, the dad perspective because it you don't hear as much.
You
So
don't.
I think you have a great thing there.
Thank you. No, it's I think no matter what, whenever you become a parent, like your identity changes so much and in so many ways. And you're just like, I think I know what I crave. It's just like, is this normal? Like is what I'm
Yeah,
experiencing normal? And if I can help some dad out there or mom or anyone be like, oh, this is normal to experience this, to know this, then hopefully it opens a door for them to explore for themselves, you know?
what I've learned much over the years, being a parent,
Mhm.
being involved with social media, is that everybody is looking for connection
Mhm.
and community. And I think sometimes in this hustle bustle life, we don't get the in person as much as we want, but I do
Mhm.
think people can certainly connect and feel less alone. They're, another dad who may have like no idea what he's doing or whatnot, like most of us, right?
Yeah.
But listening to your podcast or connecting it just makes you feel like the world's a little bit smaller.
Yeah. Or like if you're like, oh man, I'm in Nashville. What am I going to do to entertain my kids? Finding your account and being like, oh, hey, here's some tips of what I can do to keep my sanity just feels like a light whenever you're just like, I don't know. I'm exhausted. So how do I know what the next step is? So yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you also write a children's book? Is that correct?
Yeah, I've written two children's books and a couple of coloring books
That's
options.
cool.
So I have This is Nashville, which is all about Nashville and my favorite places. And so it's sort of like a little bucket list of you could flip through there and be like, oh, we should go here today,
Hmm.
or just favorite places around. I have one about Charleston as
Hmm.
well. And then I just came out with two Christmas coloring books. So Merry Music City and Christmas in Charleston,
Nice.
just to give the kids a little creative outlet.
That's awesome. I loved Parnassus. I don't know if you spend much time at Parnassus, but Parnassus
Yeah.
was always a go-to place.
I know. I am a big reader myself, and
Okay.
yeah, it's a dreamy little spot there.
It is. It is. Yeah, it's on my list of like, if I have time, if I'm ever back in Nashville, that's always on there.
Yeah,
Of like, can I stop by Parnassus? Are you going to buy a book? No, I just like it. I just, I just
I
like the
know. And they
vibe.
have the dogs in there. It's just, I love
It's great.
it.
What is like, what is one of your favorite spots in Nashville? Not, I don't want to say favorite because that's adding, it's favoritism, but like, what is one of your favorite things to do in Nashville with your kids?
I know.
Yeah,
Somebody one time asked me, like, what what subject would you say you're like an expert on? I'm like, Nashville. Like, I could like tell you in
cool.
my sleep, like all the places or my favorite. I have lots of favorites. Cheekwood is
Hmm.
definitely one of my favorites. Again, I love being outside. I feel like they always have something fun going on. In the summer,
Yeah.
different exhibits and installation. Love the pumpkins in the fall, the
Hmm.
lights. Something fun and different to get outside and unplug and just a beautiful place. And then I also love the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
That's one of my like if people are visiting Nashville, I always recommend that because I feel like it's like a taste of not old Nashville, but like,
Yeah.
history of like country music and then modern day. I don't know. It's very cool and
Yeah.
engaging. My kids love it. I laugh because on my 30th birthday a few years ago, uh, all I wanted to do was go to Country Music Hall of Fame. We didn't live in Nashville at the time. We'd driven up there and it was talking about the weather. It had snowed. And so we, it was closed,
Yeah.
when on my birthday. And I was so
Oh,
disappointed. And then the next day I was like, well, I'm still going to go, and drive over there. And then it was like a Tuesday or something. They were randomly closed on
of
Tuesday. So,
course. Yeah. That's how it always works.
but I've made it up. I've made up time now.
You've made up for it? Well, I
Yeah.
think I'm not sure if they still do it, but I know for a while there, like the National Public Library system, you could get a free pass. Like you could like put your name in, you could get a pass to there. And I think maybe Cheekwood also. I'm not, it's been a bit.
Yeah. They have a couple different little passport
Yeah,
kind of things, which is really cool.
it is. Well, I know that's how we took our kids, is because I remember like seeing that you could do that through the library system. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this means this is our day today. This is where we're gonna go down to Country Music Hall of Fame. Here we go.
Yeah. Very fun. Good for like a rainy day or cold weather.
Yeah. I would do the Tennessee State Museum pretty
Oh,
regularly.
yeah. That's really cool too. And it's free.
Yes, yeah. So parking isn't ideal. That's the only thing because they got to compete with the farmers market. But
Yeah. Farmers market there is fun too. I also love Deeper Sport going out there.
yeah.
And there's a library there that we love. And when my kids were younger, took them so many story times and there's a
Hmm.
playground. And I don't know. I love places that don't feel, or I love places that feel like tried and true Nashville
Yeah.
that are like authentic, have been around for a while, little hidden gem kind of
Yeah.
places.
Yeah. Totally. I agree.
I mean, Cheekwood and the Country Music Hall of Fame are not hidden gems, but
I got.
you know what I mean.
I think if I'm in a new town, I find it fascinating to find like the energy that exists in that town. So yeah, like I love going to like public libraries, the museums, and all that because it does kind of like even if I go to, I remember going to Manhattan once and going to like the New York Public Library just to be like, I feel like stuff has happened here. I feel like there's
Yeah.
history here, and just
Yeah.
as opposed to like the, I don't know, for some cities, it's like if you go to a restaurant or a space, it's like, will this even be here? Like, and whenever I come back in a couple of
I
years.
know. Yeah. It's good to like, get a feel for it. I feel like
Hmm.
eating the food,
Yeah,
local spots, going to the local places, always fun.
yeah, I think so too. As far as like being a mom, I haven't asked you yet how many kids you have, ages, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I have two children and two dogs. I definitely count
Mm,
them as children.
yep.
But my human children somehow have gotten so grown up on me. I have a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter. So I'm in the throes of the teen years,
Yes.
which, it has its pros and cons.
Hmm.
Like every stage, I think every, season of parenthood looks differently. I feel like, as a mom, it's like, okay, we've kind of got this season under control. And then boom, you're
Yeah.
like in a new one and you're like, I don't really know how to navigate this as well. So it's we're all growing together.
Would that mean is your daughter in like eighth grade and your son's in high school? Is that correct?
Yes, my daughter is in 7th grade
Okay, sorry.
and my son is in 10th grade.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. That yeah. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's good. Like we like to travel together. We like to play games and
Yeah,
stuff like that. We love to like joke around with each other. I
cool.
feel like we have a kind of a sarcastic family of, picking at each other, which is fine. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy their sense of humor at this stage. But it's definitely, I say, a lot of harder issues as
Yeah.
far as like, you're not, I don't know, when you have a toddler and they're throwing a temper tantrum. Like I saw this little boy the other day. His mom was trying to get him to leave Target and he
Yeah.
was pitching a fit. He did not want to leave Target. And my perspective on that was like, oh, he's so cute, whatever. I feel like when they're younger and they're having issues,
Yeah.
you can kind of like ease over it a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more with like a treat or, oh, let's watch a movie or,
Yeah.
play their favorite toy. When they're a teen, they're going through a lot on their own in their own space that it's not an easy fix. Especially mom can't necessarily swoop in and save the day at times. And so it's this balance of letting them grow up,
Mm-hmm.
helping them, being a support, but knowing your role in that too, which
Yeah.
is tricky.
Yeah. Well, because like, yeah, if my 4-year-old is losing it, there's still like redirects I can do, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, so I have a 10 and 8-year-old daughter and then a 4-year-old son. And like, yeah, if my 10-year-old is like, why does it, I don't know if this person wants to be my friend. You can't be like,
Right.
you can't be like, have a snack. Like,
Yeah. Like my daughter recently, she was like, such and such had a sleepover for their
huh?
birthday and she didn't get invited.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard because as a mom, you want to be like, well, you know, put a Band-Aid on it and fix it. And
Yeah.
that's just a little bit deeper and harder. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think it's hard in many ways,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. But it's sweet in its own
Yeah.
moments too.
Yep. I think the only thing I know is like I'm not at that part of the journey yet, is just be like, hey man, I said, no, there's more depth needed from you. That it is more like, hey, yeah, like, because I can't, if that situation, if my daughter wasn't invited to a sleepover, my first thought is be like, well, they're missing out. And it's like, well, that's not like, it's true, but that's not going to make your daughter feel better.
I tell them stuff that too, but
Yeah,
it's like they have to believe it.
of course.
So yeah, that's where we're at.
I had someone tell me like, recently, like, because everyone always talks about like, oh, high schoolers, oh, teenagers, it's a lot. Like with this almost like us versus them mentality of like, are you going to fight with them? You're going to, butt heads a lot. And he was just like, I just kind of knew that going into it. So whenever my kid would be in an amped up state, I'd be like, oh, cool, they're probably going through a lot. Like, so I just need to
Yeah.
ask more questions. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like that is rarely talked about. Of like, hey, you can actually like lean in and be like, hey, you're going through a lot. Let's talk about it. Because I feel like the standard response is to be more like, oh, you better like you're against each other. And it's like, no, you guys are on the same page. You guys are on the same team. Figure it out. You got this.
It's so true. And I mean, I think like their little minds, so much is going on
Yep.
and so many emotions. And then you throw the hormones in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it can be complex. And we don't know what they're facing on, a daily
Nope.
basis. When you need them to communicate more, it is a little harder to get the communicate. They don't want to talk as much.
Yeah.
And then, you throw the phones and technology
Mm-hmm.
in there, and that adds another layer. And,
Yep.
you're a little younger than I am, but, I didn't have a phone until a little bit later on. I think I got a phone when I was a senior in high school. But back then it was like not
Mm-hmm.
a not an iPhone, but like, so I think that's a challenge. I think we're the first like generation of parents who are navigating and walking through what that looks like too.
Yeah. No, I think I would have gotten a cell phone my junior, senior year of high school. And that was because I was driving. And in case like I got, like for
Right, right.
an actual emergency. And like back then, yes, a text message cost 10 cents. So like I
And
wasn't,
you're like doing
yeah.
the little
Boop, 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 boop,
buttons and
boop.
things. Like,
Yep.
I mean, I definitely used it a lot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I joke because, now the kids want to sit in their room or talk to their friends or whatever. And I'm like, I was the exact same way, more so with like the landline phone or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. But I can remember it. But
Well, like it's I mean, yeah, because we had I was talking to someone the other day about the humor of like our kids will never know like the family computer or like the computer room
right.
of like you're sitting there talking on instant messenger, trying to think of the best away message that you can possibly have
Yeah.
as your brother's sitting there being like, why are you still on the computer? It's my turn. It's not a
Right.
reality our kids will have.
I know. I tell mine all the time. I'm like, you missed out. Like, the 90s, the early 2000s. It was a good time.
It was a good time. It was a good time. Or at least I'm telling myself it was a
Yeah,
good time.
I think so. I don't know. Gloss over it now.
Right. Yes. Well, I mean, like, yeah, because it's I think in high school, for me, MySpace came out. And like,
Okay. Yeah.
that's not this, like, I also, if you wanted to get on MySpace, you had to log into a computer. You had to have dial up. There were so many barriers to get onto it wasn't even called a social media back then. It was just MySpace, which is drastically different. And then like, yeah, I could be talking right now and checking I could be checking my MySpace, be checking Instagram at the same time and mentally distracted at all times. So it's just, I think it's important to acknowledge that like, hey, the teenage years that you had, that's not what this is. So you have a frame of reference, but you really need to update, be learning, and be understanding what the
Right.
reality is now.
Exactly.
What do you, in relation to that, I'm going to do this as a segue to talk about social media.
Yeah.
What do you feel like, since you have kids who are entering into that phase of life and everything, what are you learning? What are you finding? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, definitely. Um, we as parents, even though, my job, huge part of my job is in social media, we really fought to give the kids phones, technology, social media. It felt like an uphill battle
Hmm.
because everyone else had them, right? And we held out till both of ours were about 13. And so my daughter just got a phone, my son's had a phone. And we with some of the social media platforms try to like hold off against that too, but that's how the kids communicate. They
Hmm.
don't necessarily text each other or call a regular phone call. They communicate through social media. And so it's a whole different kind of setup now. But, I think one thing I have learned in parenting is not to be alone in the journey,
Hmm.
whether that's your friends, your neighbor, your family members, or whatnot, or good resources. And I think it was last fall, I went to Meta, Facebook, Instagram, had like a conference in Nashville where they talked about some of the cool things they're doing to help parents and families and kids navigate social media. Because, as a person who has worked in social media for 9, I think, years, I do see a lot of the value in it.
Hmm.
There is a lot of positivity from it, from connecting with people. I've made some really amazing friends. I've learned about places that we've gone to or, recipes. Like, there's a lot of good that can be found on social media. So I do find it very valuable knowing how to navigate that with your kids.
Yeah.
So Meta has come out with a family center where you can set parental settings. You can monitor your child's screen time. You can set that up. And now they have teen accounts. So, like, when your kid is 13, they sign up for Instagram, social media, it will automatically put them into this PG-13 account,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I often laugh because I'm like, I Instagram is like a huge piece of my job, website, all this stuff, but I feel still not like I'm out of it as far as
Yeah.
like technology. Like I don't feel very tech savvy. So I'm thankful to have these resources where I can be like, okay, thank goodness I have, some help. It gives parents a lot of good resources as to how you can navigate these things. I like with the teen accounts, it kind of filters through like they're getting real suggestions or search suggestions that are more geared toward their age group
Hmm.
and not, some of the stuff that may be otherwise
Of
shown to them.
course. Yes. I think it's always interesting to have kids because like the world exists and you are constantly saying filtering is feels like a very controlling thing to say, but like I know there are things my kids are not ready to experience and learn about. And finding that balance is really difficult. Do you feel like those features have helped you so far with that of like making sure your kids don't learn about subjects, things like that, where suddenly now you're having conversations every night about something?
Right. Yeah. One thing the teen accounts is blocked some search, like if they're searching for things they don't need to be. I mean, I don't think anything with technology is going to be 100% perfect, but it definitely at least gives you these settings that you can control, that you can, the screen time, especially,
Hmm.
you're like, hey, this is your bedtime and this is when this goes off.
Yeah.
So I think that's very helpful.
Yeah. Or it seems like it helps set a baseline of like, hey, you should, if you end up seeing this type of content or whatever, like I thought I'd set up something so you didn't have to. So cool. Now, yeah, you figured out. But like, I think with security settings, private, all that stuff, like you still have to pay attention. Like, I think it's easy
Right.
to assume like, oh, well, I've set up the filter. You're good. And it's like, You were a kid once, man. You know how to work around this stuff. You'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
the kids are smarter than we are.
Yep.
They're smarter than the technology sometimes.
Hmm.
And so, yes, this is a great tool. It's a great resource, but the parent still needs to be, monitoring it, making sure everything is kind of like set up the best that we can. And, like you say, like sometimes, and they're going to learn stuff, whether it's from social media or their classmate or neighbor or whatever. And
Hmm.
so I think what we've learned is like just to approach the subject and like talk through it, like you were saying, communication is everything, and to walk them through it because, my son's 15, a couple of years, he'll be gone and he's
Hmm.
going to have all these life experiences, and
Yeah.
mom and dad aren't going to be right there with him. Although I saw this article, it's like more parents are moving now to the towns where their kid goes to college. And
Really?
so
Yeah.
I jokingly was like, okay, we're coming with you, bud. Like, I will be there with you. But
Yeah.
I think just like setting them up for the real world,
Hmm.
setting them up how to handle tough situations, whether that's online or in
Yeah.
real life.
Yep. I mean, I'm sure we all remember the people in college or whatever, where like they faced their first like failure or big task in college and like watching them crumble from it because it's a lot to take on always made me be like, oh, in fact, my parents let me fail a lot in high school. Like, because that's the downside of like protection, for lack of a better way to put it, is whenever your kid does face something that feels bigger than them for the first time, how do they handle it? How do they do it? And like, my hope for my kids that like they're at the age in which my wife and I can be a guide for them and give them the confidence to go through it so they aren't 25 experiencing failure and like the weight of it's too much, you know?
Right. We have gotten like parental or family counseling over the years through Daystar Counseling in Nashville. And, one thing that stands out to me is Sissy and David, they're like, let your kid fail. Let them make the bad grade. If they
Yeah.
didn't do the assignment or they lost their homework or whatever, let them,
Hmm.
which is so hard. It's hard to see your kid, struggle
Hmm.
or obviously you're not going to let them like, get themselves into a bad
Yeah.
situation, but like, you know, that we all make mistakes. Kids are no different. And so sometimes trying to coach them through that, it is hard.
It is. Well, also, like, if you feel like you know the answer, you know the solution, it feels withholding. It feel like I would not defy if my wife was struggling with something or I was struggling with something and you just sit there and watch them fail. That doesn't, it is a form of love, blah, blah, blah. But like, to me, I'd be like, I feel like I'm being very mean just watching you fail at something and not helping you.
I know. There was a time when one of my children had lots of missing assignments from school. And it's like, you were at school. What's the disconnect of like you misplaced this assignment, So it was one of those things of like, okay, I don't want you to have failing grades, and so I did help, or we, set
Hmm.
up for like a tutor or whatever, somebody to kind of like help. But at the same time, we've had to kind of loosen that over the years of like, okay, well, you're kind of like responsible for this, and we can't be there at school with you to make sure you turn your work in.
What type of student were you? Were you like a straight A student? What were you?
So I grew up out loving school. I'm the oldest sibling, the oldest cousin, so I like make everyone play school and
Yeah.
everything growing up.
Yeah.
I did become a teacher, as I said. So I love school, but I wasn't necessarily the best student.
Okay.
I made like middle of the road grades. I
Hmm.
kind of I kind of was always the kid who was like, I'll study a little bit, but it kind of is what it is at this point. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna stay up all night and
Yeah.
you know, cram it all in. You either know it kind of or you don't. So
Hmm.
just kind of, A, B, maybe a couple C's thrown in there,
Yeah.
here and there.
Yep. That same of like, I wasn't, I wasn't bad at school, but I know I could have, I think my parents would say I could have gotten straight A's if I wanted to, but I clearly didn't want to.
My daughter, she's the same way. We both were there for the social aspect.
Yeah.
We're there to talk to our friends, see our friends, and the schoolwork was just kind of like okay, we'll do this. But
Yes. That's awesome. Yeah. I feel like it's interesting to be so involved with social media because, doing a podcast, having an account like you do,
right,
and then thinking of my kids having one. I'm still like my kids are younger, but still so much of me is like, oh, I want to try to keep this door close to you because there is so much you can learn about the world through socials, good and bad. Did you? I'm assuming, was it like a conversation you and your husband had together to be like, hey, we're going to let our kids have a social media account? Or how was that whole process of being like, okay with your kids getting on socials?
Yes, I mean, like I said, we kind of fought it for a long time, but like, we laugh because for the longest time our kids had like a 7:30 bedtime,
Yeah.
when they were younger. And then all of a sudden we were like, wow, I don't know, I forget how old they were, but
Hmm.
we were like, okay, maybe it's time to adjust the bedtime.
Yeah.
This isn't age appropriate. Same thing with technology, social media. It's like we wanna hold on to them being younger. We wanna hold
Hmm.
on to them being, innocent and, everything, but as they grow, we're having to, take on new obstacles, new
Hmm.
challenges. And so, yeah, it was definitely a conversation between my husband and I, and then conversation with the kids because they're like, you know, "Mom, everybody else at school has a phone. Everybody
Yeah.
else has social media." And again, I think it's knowing how to leverage it,
Mm.
knowing how to use it properly,
Yeah.
having guidelines, having these restrictions. We have always asked our kids at a certain time at night, they bring their phone, they plug it in our room.
Okay. Yeah.
That's one thing. We try to, find ways to do things without our phone,
Hmm.
which is a little harder again in these days, but just trying to balance it. Like, yes, social media is great. It's my job. I've made a career,
Yeah.
out of it in some ways, but it's also very beneficial to get off your phone
Yep.
and go outside and play with neighbors
Hmm.
or play a game or puzzle things like that. I mentioned to you the horse ranch we go to. One of the things we like about it is there's very limited cell service,
Yep.
and so we try to plug these times in here and there
Yeah.
where we can all unplug it. And I mean, it's not just for the kids, for the
Yeah.
grown-ups too.
Yeah. That's have you guys created any rules for yourselves, like you and your husband, where you're like, hey, okay, no new phones at the dinner table, like anything like that?
Yeah, definitely at dinner time. We try to have that rule, unless it's like something very important or urgent.
Yeah.
No phones at the dinner table. We try to have like a family movie night. Like everybody put your phone away. You don't need it right now. But we're as guilty as the kids are sometimes of like wanting to be on it too much and trying to have to take ourselves. Like I love to go for walks, take my dogs for a walk, and I'm like, okay, leave the phone here
Yeah.
or put it in your pocket. But in the 30 minutes that I'm walking, I don't need to check my email, right? Like there's nothing that I do that is that important
Yeah.
that I need to
Right.
check it while I'm out walking.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. There's not. No, it's an extreme list of scenarios in which you're on a 30-minute walk without your phone and someone's like, I needed you and I needed you within 30 seconds whenever your kids and husband are probably at home hanging out. Like
Right.
it's everything. It's very easy to tell yourself, like, I need to respond to this immediately. And if I don't, I'm missing out or something's lacking. And it's like, that's pretty rare, man. That's not problematic.
Yeah. So again, we're doing our best
Yeah.
and utilizing any of the resources we can to learn and to kind of set healthy boundaries.
Yep. Yep. And also I think it's really cool to in my mind, none of this stuff is going away. Like our kids are going to grow up in this world. They're going to grow up with like, even like with my own self with algorithms of like, oh, I saw an ad for this. Now my entire phone has ads of this. And I was like, oh, I now know that. But like to teach my kids also like, hey, if you linger on stuff, that's all you're going to see for the rest of for like the next week or so.
Right.
Cause this stuff isn't going away. So to act like it is or act like your kid won't have a relationship with it doesn't feel like I'd be setting them up for success.
Right. And a friend of mine, she's expecting her first baby. And I'm like, when her kids are teenagers, the landscape will look completely different.
It will.
And so it'll be interesting to see, how this transpires.
It will be. Well, hey, how I end every episode is ask every guest a series of 5 questions. There's kind of fun, like
Okay.
icebreakery questions. So, first question is, did you have any backup names for your kids? Like, did you have anything you almost named them?
Yeah. So when we got long story short,
Yeah.
got the ultrasound of my daughter, but my husband wasn't with me, so they put it in a little envelope, but they gave me a picture. And so her profile looked exactly like her brother. So the whole day I thought she was a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pictured my boys playing together. And so she had a boy, a boy name all day. Eli was going to be her boy name.
Mm-hmm.
And then we opened the thing up and it was like a girl. I was very excited, of course. Then I was like sad about the boy that I had, about Eli.
Yes,
So that would have been her name
that's
if
sweet.
she was a boy.
If she was a boy, yes. And interesting, that's always one of my like favorite. There's so many moments of parenting where you like have to react to stuff in real time. And that's one of them of like, oh, this is totally going to be a boy. And you're like, it's a girl. And you're like, I'm happy. I just like, whenever our third kid was a son, we found out it was a son, and we were both like, "Oh, that's great." We didn't know we could make boys. So let me process
Um,
this.
with my son, when I found out he was a boy, I was like, oh, well, I kind of just always picture whenever I had a kid, it would be a girl,
Yeah.
Um, again, the whole parenting
Yes,
experience is very humbling. You
it is.
just
Yes. Yep.
get
Like,
what you get.
don't control any of this, and just grateful that it happened at all. Here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question: do you have a favorite like TV, movie, or like mom, like a character mom?
You know who I love? Tammy Taylor. Did you watch Friday Night Lights,
Mm-hmm.
that show?
Mm-hmm.
Big Tammy Taylor fan. Also, the mom that I just watched this movie recently on Still Magnolias. Did you ever watch this? What is the mom's name?
I cannot remember, but I
Sally
no.
Field is
Yes.
who plays the character. She just is going through such a hard time with her daughter, and she
Yes.
loses her daughter, but she's like very sweet and caring, but she's a little bit feisty too,
Yes.
and very strong.
Is it Malin? Is that
Yes,
okay?
Milan.
I
Yes.
feel like Steel Magnolias and Fried Green Tomatoes are like movies that were on constantly in my house on like a Saturday or Sunday
Yeah.
afternoon. For Steel Magnolias, I cannot tell you a single plot detail of any of it. But it is, yes, that's where my mind goes to, is just that on a TV on in the background while I
Yeah.
would rather be watching cartoons.
I was so happy to see it on the other day. I was like, this is on regular TV.
Next question: what's your go-to replacement curse word? Like someone cuts you off in traffic, stub your toe. What do you say instead of a bad word?
Let's see, what do I say? My kids, they always say "dadgum."
Dadgum.
Yeah, that's what they say. Probably something similar to that, or
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That works.
I don't have a lot of good ones on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think sound effects are more realistically the noise that gets made is because you do like that because you stop
Yeah,
yourself from saying the word. So that's, I think, sound
my
effects.
family, they get on to me like in the car because I'm very reactive. The other day I felt my husband like stopped too soon. I'm always like, and I make like a very dramatic, and they're like, "Don't do that because then it scares them or
Of
whatever." I'm like, I
course.
can't help
I'm
it. It's just like
sorry.
a natural reaction.
Yes. Do you do like the, if your kids are in the front seat, do you do the mom bar? Like
Yeah,
the
I'm
arm
like,
across the front seat at
yeah,
all times?
mm-hmm, yeah,
How dare you react to your environment?
I know, I know. It's built-in
The
reaction.
worst. Next question. I mean, you could have a lot of answers for this. What is like one of your favorite activities to do with your kids?
We're a big sports family. We love going to football games, hockey games, all the kind of sporting events. They're kind of at a fun age too where they enjoy concerts, so we
Oh, fun.
are able to do that. Like my daughter, she loves CMA Fest.
Cool.
I laugh because like for years we're in the nosebleeds of CMA Fest, like all this kind of stuff. And then my husband took her, just the two of them, bought last minute tickets, and they got like within the first couple rows. I'm like,
Real
okay,
tickets. Yeah.
so yeah,
That's
but
cool.
just experiences we like
Cool.
to do.
Have you, I mean, I'm going to make a plug for Nashville SC. Have you gone to many Nashville SC games yet?
Oh, we've been to a few.
Okay.
Yeah, they're so
Okay.
fun. I'm not a huge like I don't understand
Listen,
soccer
I
as
get
well as
it.
like
I
football,
know. I get
but
it.
the atmosphere there is amazing at the Nashville SC. And did you see they're going to have part of the Olympics there
I did. Yes.
in
Yeah.
the next set of Olympics? But yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Yep. Now that's, I used to live next to the zoo. So it was like a two
Okay.
mile
Yeah,
drive
in
to
New
get out there.
Jersey here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I got the one in the background. Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you, okay. Are you excited to see a game in the new stadium once it's built for the Titans? Because I bet the stadium will look gorgeous whenever it's done.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be pretty sweet. I think I've realized like I really enjoy watching football more so on TV because
Same.
I can understand what's going on
Yep.
more, well, especially when it's hot. Like you're
Yep.
climate control. So I don't know. In my mind, I love that
Yeah.
going and the whole experience. But then when it comes down to it, I'm like, I really prefer just to
Yeah.
watch from home. But
Yep.
yeah, absolutely would love to see the new stadium,
Yeah.
and
All
I'm
that.
sure it'll kind of take things to a different
Yeah.
level.
That's going to a football game whenever you have kids is so different also because it's like, okay, we got to leave at, 10:30. When are we going to get back? Probably 5. And I'm like, I don't know if I care this much.
Well, and it's like you have to park
Yeah.
far and then get all the little ones in, and then somebody has to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a whole
It's a whole
thing.
thing. Or you can watch it at home. Sorry, NFL fans, but
Yeah.
it's real convenient. Okay. And last question is, what's like best parenting advice that you've received?
Yes, I think it was just like love your kid, even, if you're having a very hard day, like just picture yourself going back in time, like, fast forward to the future and you're like, this is the moment you have with them. And in a couple years, you would do anything to get this time or this season back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really helped me change my perspective on some things, because it's very easy for me to miss when my kids were young. And I don't know, especially like when the holidays roll around, like Valentine's recently. I love all the little Valentine cards and exchange and everything. And we're out of that season. And so I'm like, I'm sure there were many hard days at that time, but if I could go back, I would.
Yeah.
And so just enjoying the day, the everyday, enjoy each season, make the most of it,
Mm-hmm.
and be gentle with yourself and
Yeah.
gentle with your kiddos because, again, we're all kind of navigating it together.
Yep. And it all goes faster than you think. No matter
Yeah,
what, you look up and I'm sure you are like, oh my gosh, my son's going to learn how to drive in the next year. That can't be true. That can't be real.
I know. It's crazy. And, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
right?
goes fast for sure.
It does. And then last thing for you is just moment for like self promotion. If you want to find like your Instagram account, website, all that stuff,
Yeah. So everybody can find me at the Nashville Mom or the NashvilleMom.com
Sweet. It's
and on
simple.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got.
Well, thank you. I was enjoyed talking with you.
Of course. Nice to meet you.
Well, so nice to meet you. And thanks for chatting along and look forward to seeing you around.
Perfect. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, Dawn. Thank you.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Imperfect Dads Podcast. And make sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Music, editing, and production is all done by me. Make sure to tune in on Mondays and most Thursdays for new episodes. This podcast is part of the Never Efface Network. Make sure to go to nevereffacenetwork.com to learn more about them.